It says I am live. I'm going to give it a second here to catch up. Sometimes the computer can be a tiny bit slow. I see there's a few of you there waiting, and we have Jody in the comments behind the Pinkfresh Studio name, so she'll be here moderating today. Leah had the day off. All right, it's being really slow to catch up. I'm going to try. There we go. Today I had to refresh the page. There we are. So now I can see that we're up and all looks good. So welcome everybody. Hello. So glad that you're here to join us today. This will actually be our last regular scheduled Tuesday YouTube Live for December because the next 2 weeks is going to be a mix of Christmas Eve. Can you guys believe that's only a week away? My brain is kind of exploding a little bit. And then the week after that, of course, is New Year's Eve. So we're going to be taking both of those days off, and I'm making something completely more spring summery with the herb garden. So we're going to kind of jump ahead although you know what, a lot of those holiday meals and everything, you have to have the little herb garden. So you can have an indoor herb garden. So maybe we're still hitting the seasonal a little bit today. So um, hello, hello. All right, I see everybody's still finding on. So I'm going to go over a couple of those housekeeping things real quick to let everybody know just kind of how we do these, especially if you're new. I see a lot of familiar friends, and we're really glad you're back in here with us again today. If you're joining us for the first time, or for the first time in the chat, or first time live, throw a little comment in the chat. We love to hear and welcome you. Once I get crafting, sometimes I miss those because I'm a little focused on what I'm doing. I do my best to keep an eye on the comments, but our moderator, who today is Jody, does a great job of catching all those comments or questions if I miss them. So if both of us by some chance miss them, feel free to leave them again. I promise we're not ignoring you. Every once in a while, the chat can just fly really quick and something slides by. Um, Lee, that's a perfect. You make Christmas cards in summer, so why not summer cards in Christmas? I feel like there's a lot of overlap anyway. All right, so one other thing that's really important is we give away a $15 gift card in every one of these lives. Jody will pick that from the comments at the end of the live. The way you enter for that is just what you all are doing right now. Leave lots of comments, leave those questions in the chat. If you know the answer to a question that someone asks, just basically enjoy that community of crafting that we have in the chat. And then another way you can enter is by sharing this video. You can grab a link either from your browser. There's also a share button underneath the video on a desktop. I kind of forget how it looks on a mobile device, so if it looks a little different. However, you can find a way to grab that link and share it. You can share it in a message, a private message to a crafty friend, share it on any of your own social media. If you're part of a crafty group and you've double checked to make sure it's allowed with the rules, you can always share it there as well. One other thing and then if you do share, make sure and come back and leave us a comment letting us know you shared. Otherwise, we don't know. And then that will count as an extra entry. And then one final thing that we really greatly appreciate, it doesn't count as an entry for the giveaway, but we love if you're enjoying the video, if you hit that little thumbs up button underneath. It just kind of helps more people find us, both now while we're live and also later on the replay. And since more people are kind of slowly joining in, I'll repeat this at the end one more time too, but this is our last scheduled Tuesday live for 2024. The next 2 weeks are Christmas Eve and New Year's, so we're going to take those 2 weeks off. So we're glad you're here to kind of end out the year today. There is one more retailer edition, and I don't remember the exact date. It's one of the next 2 Fridays. So keep an eye open for that. That'll be Leah with another retailer. So there'll be updates on that one. And that will be the final live for the year. But I think that covers everything. I've got all of the supplies I'm using today are linked in the video description. Feel free to ask any questions anyway, but if I miss those, you can find those for really easy reference down in the video description. But I'm going to go ahead and switch my camera around and see if we can go ahead and get started. So bear with me for a second while I do that. Oop, wrong button. Okay, one more sip of that tea. I was up way too late last night and still trying to wake myself up a little bit. So a second cup of tea was very necessary. All right, here is what I'm going to be using today. The lovely herb garden set. It's from our most recent release. I haven't touched this or used this yet, so you guys will be seeing me in real time using this for the first time. And then from our last release before that, our Essentials release, I'm going to pair that up with the Nested Rectangles Postage Edge. It's another one of my favorites that I really like. So um, yeah, let's just kind of dive in and get going on it. And I see Jody just filled in when that Craft Hour Retailer Edition. It is this Friday, so we do hope you'll join us for that. That'll be with Leah. All right, I'm going to grab out my Misty, my stamping platform. Now, one interesting thing, just as I've observed on this set, if you look on the back, you've got all those fun little herbs, and then you also have that little kind of a rustic tin planter. I don't quite know what to call it, but it just looks like kind of an old vintage, like you'd see in a garden, all kind of just half rested and filled with plants. Super, super cute. But you notice it's not on the stamp set. It's only on those layering stencils. So it's going to have a no edge design. So we're going to go ahead and stamp this just to make sure we can fit everything on. I grabbed a bigger piece of cardstock. I just realized this isn't going to fit in this Misty. Let's grab the bigger one. A slightly larger piece of cardstock just to make sure I can fit it all on one, because otherwise it's going to be a little fiddly to get that to squeeze on. And I didn't want to have to use two different pieces of cardstock. So that's kind of my solution for that. All right, so let's pull off that big stamp set there. And we're just going to line this up at the top there, and then really quickly just to kind of confirm that I'm sort of getting things where I want. Yep, it looks like there's plenty of room there to fit that wash tub at the bottom. And just make sure, I think we might actually slide that up ever so slightly. And then that's going to make sure, actually down was fine. Anyway, somewhere in there. Just want to make sure there's room to fit everything just so. Okay. I'm going to make sure that that is scrunched down in that corner because we're going to use, I'm going to kind of branch out since we're only doing the greenery here. I think I'm going to stamp it instead of detail black or anything. We're going to try it with some sage ink. It's just the lightest green. So it'll keep it a little bit of a no line look. But it'll blend in really well once we start adding color onto these images. So that's my hope anyway. And I'm going to make sure this is lined up in my stamping platform because I want to come back at the end. Excuse my voice this morning. I want to come back at the end and restamp just to help get a really crisp impression up over the top. So I'm going to leave that there. That's why I made sure I had it squished down into that bottom corner just so. All right, now I got to find out where. One of those days I'm running out of desk space. So where to put things, where to put things. All right, and then let's go ahead, grab out our ink stand, grab out those layering stencils. And we're just gonna start diving into some ink blending. I'm gonna line up that first layer there. And as you can see, the important thing is just lining up those herbs. And the rest down the bottom is just going to kind of fall into place. Now, since I'm using kind of two different colors for these, I'm going to just do a quick little simple bit of masking at the bottom. I'm just using Post-it notes. It's a really inexpensive, easy way to mask that off to keep things kind of soft and out of the way. And let's see. Yep, I think that's going to work really well. Just kind of figuring out the colors as I go along. So we're going to start with sage. And for this, I'm going to use nice small 1/2-inch blending brushes. When we get down to the wash tub, I'm going to use my larger ones. I'm going to start here just by blending in a good bit of sage ink here to kind of get a base color on these. I'm also going to come in just for fun and add a little variation to these. So I'll show you the next color I'm going to use right after this. just to add a little something fun to them because I think it'll be, or at least some of them. I don't know if I'll do it on all of them. We'll start with one at a time and see where we land. Okay, so we've got the sage done. Set that aside for now. I think I'm going to come in with a little bit of waterfall just to add, I love kind of mixing different color families that still blend well. And waterfall is a great, nice, soft kind of turquoisey blue. And I think adding a bit of that, and I was originally thinking to the base, but I think I'm actually going to go to the outside edges a little, kind of tinge those, because I already blended the green a little deeper around the center. So I think this is going to be a fun way just to kind of add a little fun detail to these that hopefully will be, especially on these bigger leaves. I don't know how much, I think I'll do a tiny bit on these, but it's certainly going to be a little bit less. Let me just hit a couple sides on that. All right, I think that's going to be super fun. All right. Before we peel this off, I got to remember, I'm going to switch around here and move my masks up here so we can move down to this main part here. And I actually am going to start back here with a little bit of waterfall, but I'm also going to come in with just a touch of dough to kind of soften the edges a little. It's kind of my plan right now. I just realized I forgot to grab grabbed most of my large brushes, but I used those ones. All right. We're going to mainly come in here and blend with, and I just saw someone asking, Jody is here today. Leah is off for the day. It was a vacation day for her. Kind of like I was off yesterday. So today feels like Monday to me, and I keep having to remind myself it's Tuesday. So for lack of better word, guys are lucky that I remembered it was Tuesday and I'm here today. So a little bit one of those days. All right. So there's our base of waterfall on there. Let's see how it goes. I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I don't know. Instead of just ink blending on the edges, I kind of want to do a little bit of a texture. So I'm going to quickly clean off my brush here. Sometimes if you're using a deeper color or you've used a deeper color in your brushes, we'll spray just a little bit of rubbing alcohol on a clean cloth, kind of swirl your brush over the top of that, and then on a dry area. And as you can see, it kind of lightens up, pulls some of that excess ink off. So now when I grab a lighter color, I'm not going to end up with too much of a color I don't. All right, so let's try what I kind of have in mind here for that. Instead of like blending, I'm just going to kind of, ooh, that's actually kind of making a fun effect there. I just kind of wanted to kind of add a little bit of a vintagey flair without being too overt in that. But I really love how that's working. I feel like it's going to look like a little bit like that old copper. I hope that kind of shows up on there. Really curious to see. All right, we're going to do the fun part now. Clean this off a little. Get the extra ink off. All right, let's see how this came out. I've never done anything like this, so this was totally just a random experiment, but look at that. Super fun. I love mixing colors together. I love how that kind of changed the look of that. I love the two colors on the leaves up here, how that's giving a different look. The stamping and the green. Super duper fun. Okay, let's save those mask pieces there. And let's move on to our next pencil color. We're going to do, I can see here, a tiny bit more masking. And the main thing here on this one is, again, lining up with the current leaves. And we're just gonna allow the other things to fall into place. So take care of those leaves up there, and the rest should kind of do its own thing. Let me take a peek on there. All right, so yes, we're just gonna do our next deepest color on that. So let's start up there with the greenery. I'm also gonna mask off that little plant stand there. I don't know if you can see it on there. I'm gonna do that in a different color to kind of help that pop a little bit as well. So for this, we're gonna move up to our next deepest shades. I'm a little I think, yeah, we'll probably use turquoise on this now. Let me get my next set of brushes out. Ooh, I'm gonna do a quick clean on these because I think I used these for patina. That's the word, Leanne. I couldn't think of the word, but yes, that's kind of what I was sort of going for. And I'm kind of happy with how it came out. So, all right, I'm gonna clean both of these brushes off because I'm only going up one color. So I'm using the lighter of the darker shades. And I don't remember what I last used on these, so I want to get any excess ink off. All right, make sure that's dried off enough, and let's start with that eucalyptus. Same as before. I'm going to go a little bit deeper at the base, kind of fade out to the deeper areas there. And then, just like we did before, wipe off the extra ink there with the dry cloth. And then we'll move on to a little bit of turquoise ink. And again, just like before, just going to touch the tips a little bit of those flowers, not flowers, leaves. They're herbs, not flowers, although some herbs do get flowers on them. These ones don't currently have any. Right, just like that. It's going to be subtle. I don't want it to be kind of overwhelming, but. And then remember, we're not ready to move these masks yet. I'm going to get this little bit in here. I want a fun little pop of color on these. So for this part right here, I think I might just add a mask there and also finish masking there. I just don't trust myself. I'm a messy ink blender. Okay, mimosa. Just because I want it, like I said, I want kind of a fun pop of. And I'm noticing I didn't like super thoroughly clean my stencil off. So there's a hint of green, which is going to kind of help keep that vintage feel a little bit, which actually makes me realize I might just grab the little bit of ink that's left still. Yeah, let's do that. Let's add a little tiny bit of that dough on there just to bump up that vintagey feel on that as well. So that's a subtle little bit of a brushing just to kind of keep that same vibe going. All right, so clear that. And then let's get that there, you there, a little bit up there. All right, for this, we only need the little bitty brushes, I think, which we've already kind of got out. So we'll come in with turquoise. Still, yeah. Yeah, I think turquoise is good. And then we'll also come over this a little bit with our that dough ink a little bit as well, just to keep the color tones going where we want them. I want to keep that same kind of twist of vintage. We're just going through the inks today, and that's okay. All right. Same as last time. We'll just kind of blend it in a way that gives it a little bit of a texture, but doesn't overwhelm. I don't want it to look like it's full on brown. I just want that little bit of distressing. Okie dokie. I think we're ready to take this stencil off. We're kind of working slowly through the stenciling, but I'm liking, you ready? Here's that next reveal. So cute. All right, so far I'm really loving how that's coming together. Let's move on to stencil number 3. Now this is going to be kind of moving on to a little bit deeper greenery in some spots, and then a little bit of some of the stems on a couple of those pieces as well. And then of course, a little more, it looks like just kind of that center part there of the planter. So not much down there. So we're gonna just move up here to our darkest shade of our greens that we're gonna use today, which is Spruce Tips. Same as before. Keep that blending deeper at the base of these and then fade off a little. It's gonna just be adding a little bit of detail to that one. And again, a little bit of the stem there on this one. And then some layers. And then this is actually shading in the final layer of this little herb up here. I was trying to go through and kind of guess what some of these are. I think like this one I feel like is kind of like a rosemary. This one I'm pretty sure is a mint. I don't know, this one I was kind of torn between like thyme or tarragon. And then this one, maybe sage? I don't know. Those are just kind of my best guesses. What the herbs are. I'd love to hear your guys' guess too. All right, so clear off the extra there, and then let's spin our mask around and do this. And then for this one, we're just doing that center. Oh, you know what I forgot? Totally forgot. Let's go back and do our tiny little bit of the turquoise. Not as many on this one, but there's still a couple little spots that I feel like keep the same feel going that we have so that it's consistent if nothing else. There we go. I think that's good. Okay. It didn't need much, but the little details, right? All right. Clean that off again. And then now we'll actually turn those masks around. Okay. So this, I think I am going to come in. So I want to keep that undertoning. I'm going to come in really deep with that turquoise. Hold nothing back on this one. Let's make it just a really, really deep base. And then we will over just a smidge again with that dough. Actually, you know what? Maybe we'll bump up even from dough on this one. Let's go up to it. Espresso. We'll go even one more notch deeper. Oops. Save my brush from getting contaminated with blue. Not that it would probably matter that much, but let's do that. I think that's going to be a good way to kind of give this a little added punch for that center part. All right, let's see how that worked. Are we ready for that magic reveal to see? And then we've only got one final stencil layer. There we go. And I love how that came out for the middle there. So that was a good choice there. Okay. We have one stencil layer left to finish, and this is going to be some of the stems on some of those herbs. I think they're the slightly more woody stems. And then the handles on our little planter down below. So mostly for this, we're going to use Espresso, I think, for the handles. I do want to keep that separate and give those a good pop. And then I think we might do, probably should have started there. I think we'll do dough for the areas on the herbs, maybe. I'm undecided. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. We'll use a little espresso too, but let's go use some spruce tip and then go over it a little bit. That way we'll keep still that lovely green tone that we had, but we'll deepen it down a little bit with that espresso. How's that sound? Like that extra, oops, and then my tape shifted. That was not convenient. There we go. All right, then let's just deepen the base of those. Okay. Note to self, change out the ink pad when you change the color. Hold on. I just dipped my brown brush into my green ink pad. So give me a moment here. Got ahead of myself. I just need to clean that brush off. Thank goodness for that little cleaning tip that's gonna save me. And at least this isn't like a green to a pink. That would be really sad. But look at that. All that green just came off beautifully. Saved by the rubbing alcohol. All right, let's try that again. That actually looks like it's doing something this time. Weird. Sometimes, you know, like I said, it feels like Monday. Can we blame it on a Monday, even though this feeling like a Monday enough to count it as a Monday? I think so. All right, this is our final reveal. Let's see. Came out. How fun. Look at that, you guys. I love the texture on that little tin. I think that's my favorite part of all of this. All right, let's clean up all my mess here. And then we're going to go back and let's grab that stamping platform, set it behind me. And I'm going to come in and just restamp that greenery with that same sage ink that I started off with. That way we can kind of keep that fun outline going and make sure it's nice and crisp and fun. So I'll probably stamp this a couple times just to really get the outline kind of sunk in there. And I just kind of, oh good, it did line up well. Whew. It's always that little moment of fear, but we were definitely far enough in to just be committed. A couple times. I like that. I hope you can see just how much that kind of made those herb outlines just a little crisper and kind of fun on there. All right, let me clean this off real quick. And we can put this away. And I'm going to go ahead and just stamp that part on there that is the fresh herbs while we're kind of in the mode here of doing that. I think that'll just be easier. I should tip this the right direction, huh? And then I'm also going to stamp my little other sentiment on there as well. All right, a second ago, where did I put it? I had another magnet. Did anyone see what I just did with that? How can you just misplace an entire magnet? All right, hold on. I'm going to grab a magnet out of other stamping platform, and then we'll find that one later. What in the world? Sometimes, you guys. Sometimes. Oh, I found it. Okay. I suddenly remembered the back of my die packaging. That's like the perfect hiding spot for a magnet. Check the back of your die packaging. That built-in magnet. Tried to be all stealthy and sneak and grab that. All right, fresh herbs. Line that one up there. And that one I'm going to stamp in that turquoise ink. I'm just going to do it right over top. I think that'll give a good tone on tone kind of look. It's beautiful. And then, just for fun, I'm going to put a little bit of dough ink on there. And then I'm sort of going to kind of just roughly blot it dry so there's only a little of it on there. Oh, yes. And that helped kind of add that same vintage flair to the stamp. Beautiful. I see a question about the winners for the blog hop. That actually is tomorrow that those will be posted, I believe. So definitely keep an eye out for that tomorrow. Today is usually the last day to comment. We leave them open an entire week and then we announce them the next day. So, all right. What do we want to say there? Saying hello. Can't wait to see you. Sending love. Thank you. So glad we're friends. Oh my goodness, how do you choose what sentiments? I think I'm gonna have to go with the so glad we're friends. Okay, I'm gonna have to spin this around so I can make sure I've got it on there straight. Now all those little sentiments should fit on that little planter thing there. And this one, I'm just gonna stamp this one with the espresso ink. I'll stick with that because it'll coordinate on here better than pivoting over to detail black. And that looks like that. I'm just gonna stamp one more time just to make sure a really good impression. Nice and gentle because it's a very dainty sentiment and I don't want to destroy that. All right. And I think we're ready to move on to some die cutting and work on the next parts of this here. Who else is ready? Okay, let's pull out that amazing one-piece coordinating die. And actually in this one, I know I said something about a built-in magnet, but this one doesn't have one, but the magnet sticks really well to the metal in the die. So, mom full of joy, my plans for Christmas, just kind of low-key hanging out with family for me. So, we haven't really set in stone exactly where we're going or who we're seeing, but we've got a few ideas. So, what is everyone else doing for Christmas? I'd love to hear. I'm realizing that this will be the last time I see you before Christmas. So, let me know what fun plans you have for Christmas and New Year's and all those holidays that are coming up so soon. Things you're looking forward to in 2025. I'll do my best there. We're actually doing really good for time, so I'm going to keep an eye on those comments as I die cut and keep putting stuff together. There is no press plate for this set, Sandra, to answer that. All right, I will be right back after I die cut this. All right. This is so fun. I look how it die cuts this and gets those little notches by the handle. Isn't that adorable? And that total vintage feel we got with our ink blending. It's amazing. All right, and we've got our cute little length pick, whatever you want to call that. And then all of the herbs. Let's grab out our embellishment tool. And I'm going to use the other side of this just to get some of those little bitty chad pieces out of there. These are where coordinating dies just make such a difference. You could fussy cut that, but getting those little inner details is such an awesome touch that I love. Okay, this one just has one there. So on this one, every single one of those herbs. Oh, Amy Moore, hopefully your husband's surgery goes really well. Oh, Julie, you know what? Last night we did gingerbread houses. The girls had some friends over, one of their cousins and a couple friends, and we do little mini. I have really inky fingers. I just noticed that. I've got blues and greens. Hopefully, I don't smudge anything here as we go on. Um, but no, we do a little mini Christmas village, so they're kind of like about this size for the whole house. It just you can sit and hold them in your hand, and they're so much easier to put together. It's a cookie cutter that does all the pieces in one. Um, so we did those last night. We've got a few more Christmas cookies planned for sure. That's one of our favorite things to do. All right. I'm thinking of something different I want to do here. I can just tuck these behind. And I might be really stupid for thinking about doing this, but I kind of want to cut a little line so I can slip into that. I know I have, yeah, here's a little X-Acto knife. We're going to get brave, friends. Grab a little just whatever mat I have. I don't even know. It looks like this is just an X-Acto hot pink knife. All right, I'm going to test this on a little scrap of paper to make sure I can control and get, okay, that looks like that'll work. So I think I can get it where I want. Let's just cut along that edge there. Oops. I say I can do it and then I don't get it perfect, but, oh, okay. A little more over there. Use my head getting in there. I think this is going to be really matter if it doesn't open. There we go. I got it. All right. So now we've got this little pocket there. That will make it kind of fun to tuck things in. Tours of Christmas lights. Oh yes, that's on our list. Lots of baking, gathering, craft time, naps. Naps sounds like the best part. That was the downside to our gingerbread house. Baking is, I was up really late. The last person left at midnight and I woke up at 5:30 to work this morning. So I'm dragging, that might be part of why today feels so much like a Monday. And Beth off to Hawaii on Saturday. That sounds like a great idea. That's a great spot to spend Christmas. Um, Christmas lights, yes. Run your dough through your die cutting machine. Yeah, maybe not. That's good advice there not to. All right. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss any other questions on there since I asked them. Oh, I really like how that adds such a perfect little spot to tuck those in and makes it even more realistic and fun. Ah, it's adorable. Okay. Now I just gotta figure out how to arrange all of these cuties. And then of course the little planter thing in there has to tuck there. Okay, that's given us the kind of the layout there. So now we need to decide which size of the postage. 7 grandkids together. Oh, awesome, Leanne. Okay, sorry, still watching the comments to make sure I don't miss anything there. All right, so now the question, do I want this to go upright? I'm actually kind of debating on making it a little bit more of a horizontal card. Or, I don't know. Now I'm having a dilemma of what to do. Let's pull the card base out. Because I know I'm going to do some ink blending. It is kind of cute there with all of that space at the top. Get ink blend down from the top to keep it a little. We might do that. I'm wondering if I should grab a craft card base too, just to add. Or die cut that panel out of craft paper. There's the next question. Let me grab some craft cards then. All right. The real question here, do we want to have our You know what? That is kind of a neat look there. And if we did the postage edge and put it on a white card base, or do we do the white on the craft card base? Hmm. And I think I'm going to actually go, okay. All right. I have a plan. We're going to do the craft for the card base. And we're going to cut this size from the white cardstock. I'll show you what I'm thinking here. Oh, or on cream. You know what? Cream is, okay. Someone had a really smart idea. Cream cardstock, cut this from craft. I think. Although we've got the white outline on that. So maybe we do want to stick with the white and just, yeah, I'm going to stick with the white. That is a good idea though. I really do like that thought. But I'm going to cut this. And just for fun, I'm going to center it on my panel because I might want to use that die cut window for something else later. All right, I'll be right back with this. I'll put that on there. I need to die cut that craft card base because that one's just a craft panel. Save those because I might need to die cut something else. That postage edge is going to be super duper fun with this too. All right. Yes. And I love how that's kind of framing around that and really making it pop. And you know, I was going to do some ink blending somehow here, but I'm almost having second thoughts about even doing that. I'm almost just really loving how that just fits on there, popped up maybe with a little bit of foam. Maybe a little ink blending around the craft, kind of make it pop more. You know, instead of cutting a whole card base, I'm just going to use this panel and put it on a white card base that I already have done. This will just kind of help buy us some time today. Let's do a little bit of that dough ink on here, and we'll just make this pop just a little more. I think that'll be a good little addition on there that's going to make those edges. Yeah, all right, I'm loving that. All right, I am going to add, if we don't like it, we've got time, we'll cut another one, but I think I'm going to add a teensy tiny bit of mimosa on just one edge of this. I just think it's going to add a touch of a little fun pop to it. And these big brushes will help get me a nice soft, gentle fade. If I don't like it, I'll just die cut it again from white and no one will be the wiser, right? I don't like it at the top, honestly, but let's see how we feel about it at the bottom. You know what? I do like it on the bottom. It kind of just vanished in the top, but it actually adds a good grounding and base along the bottom. And then once we get everything stuck down, I think I'll add a little twine or something on there for just some added texture. And of course, a little touch of bling. And then I think we're going to be coming together well on this. All right, let's start kind of adhering some of these layers together. Grab my ready-made white card base. I'm gonna take a second here. I feel like I've got ink on my desk that I want to clean up. Just my big old Ad for Forever tape gun. One. I'm gonna adhere this down first. That's some want some foam between, but I don't want to go too crazy. So I've got this, it's slightly thinner foam tape. There's a few different brands and kinds that you can get. This one in particular is, I've used this one a lot. It's from Simon Says Stamp and it's called the Big Mama foam tape roll. And I don't remember what the actual measurements are, but if you look it up, you can figure out. It's kind of my favorite because I can use foam on this and foam on that. And I feel like in the end, I kind of end up with the same thickness as if I just did one layer of foam, but I have something between the two. Yeah, I agree. I wasn't sure about the mimosa and I thought I'd want it at the top, but once it got on there, it was definitely, now I gotta make sure I get it at the bottom, not at the top. All right. Center that. Put that in place. And then we're gonna get our planter on there, of course, leaving room to slide our herbs in. I'm just gonna really stabilize this mainly at the bottom. A little bit there. We can always trim off some of the herbs if we need to, right? I'm not gonna think about that. That just centered. Even holding those handles is just fun. It feels like a real live planter there that I'm tucking in. It's so fun. Okay. Looks like I could have put a little less foam there to be able to slide these in better, but like I said, I'm not going to fret about that. So we'll trim off a little bit just because I know where I want to put these. Into the proper spot there. All right, that needs to go down a little further. The fiddly spot there. All right. Right, this is where I get quiet as I'm arranging everything. Okay, I like that. I don't want it looking too straight, like it's just coming up all the same, because where's the fun in that? So grab some of this foam and peel the backing off in advance. That way I can trim some little pieces and place them directly behind to kind of stabilize where I want those to go. And I don't have to worry about the backing once I've careful where I put them so that I don't put them behind one of those little chad pieces that we don't want to have showing. Yes, a little bit of a clear embossing, a plaid background. That would have looked really pretty. I don't think I planned ahead enough to like think about the fact I was even going to use a plaid background, let alone put a little foam there because it'll kind of kill two birds with one stone. All right. Make sure I've got enough foam in all the places that I want to stabilize there. All right, and one thing I didn't think to do in advance, so I'll do it now, is to kind of fluff up all of those. Yeah, the foam tape that I'm using, Sherry, it's just a thinner foam tape. It's from, Simon Says there's a few different companies that carry it. This one particular one is called the Big Mama. So if you look it up, it'll give you the thickness. I feel like if I use 2 layers of that, it's about the equivalent of one of the bigger layers of the normal like 3M foam tape that I otherwise would use. Okay. And then that just needs to tuck in there, and I didn't leave enough room, so we're gonna cut that off a little to make sure it goes down far enough too. Okay, tiny bit of foam adhesive on the back of that as well. Just enough to hold it in place. All right. And I'm okay with that kind of popping out a little more because it's just going to add to the dimension on this. So check out that fun dimension that we have on there. All right. Like I said, now that everything's stuck down, I'm really wishing I had done something for texture on the back, but we're not quite done because we still have time to add bling. Oh, that was what I was saying. I was going to add some twine on here. I think this is just Lawn Fawn. It's plain white twine. I'm trying to decide if there's a good way, kind of leaning towards along the bottom there. Let's see if we can wrap a few twists and then kind of tie it over on the side there. That might be the little bit of texture that we really need to finish this one off. And just going around the entire card front works really easily to add that on there. And not, let's see if we can get a tiny little bow on there as well. Trying to kind of tuck that so it goes under the planter so we don't detract from that. And then if we tie our little loopy bow over here, I think that's the perfect little bit of texture on here to help kind of finish that off. Mess with the bow just to make it all lay like you want. And then I usually add a little dot of glue to hold it in place. And then spling this up a little bit. So of course, I didn't plan ahead on what bling I want to use. And I think I want to keep it fairly neutral. I'm actually thinking this might be a good matte gold metallic pearl. Someone said don't tie my card. Nope, I got it so it opens. It just wraps around the inside there. So I left it. I do that a lot on my card front. So, all right. I am leaning towards that, but let's just do a quick glance through. Those would be good too. Champagne pearl, or not pearls, glitter drops. I think we've got enough green on there, so I don't really feel like that's a good choice. Those are a little too iridescent. I think I'm just going to stick with those. Otherwise, I'm going to get stuck overthinking and trying to decide. Louise, that would have been fun too. I actually kind of like the twine with the little pop of white. It kind of brings out that background, or not even white. It's kind of a hint of an ivory, but I feel like it kind of pops out better with that brighter tone. So I'm kind of okay with that. All right. See if we can fit a little cluster. Nope, not like that. It needs to tuck in a little bit more. Maybe get one down there. Okay. I'm going to shimmy shape them. There we go. So you get that other little bitty one. Just try. I feel like there might be. I do feel like that kind of adds something there. I don't know if there's any other good spots on there that would make sense, but something there. Sorry, this is the part where I start overthinking. Maybe a little trio there. Nope. I think that's better just as its own. Maybe the larger one there. I do feel like that might fit in. Making sure there's no other spots that, I don't know. Not entirely sure if I'm even liking that one there. I feel like now it looks empty without that there, but at the same time, be the smaller one. I think just sticking with the smaller one was better. There we go. One more thought. A trio, but use two of the tiny ones. Okay, that looks a little bit better. I do like that. The bigger one was just too big, but I think three little ones, I think that works. And we're gonna stop fiddling and just get those adhered down. And we're right about time. Yeah, and I could put some on the sign too, but I feel like a little cluster up there, it just needs it. I don't know. I may fiddle with this more later and add more, but I think I'm pretty happy with how that is. So I'll get these glued down, give you a final look, swap the camera around and say one final goodbye. And also, I'm imagine Jody's picking a winner about now, so I'll be ready to announce that for you as well. Okay. That finishes this card off. Let me give you another close-up peek at all of that fun, yummy texture and the colors. And I think, like I said, I really think okay. And I see the gift card winners announced. I had a thought and I suddenly have to try it. So the gift card winner today is Mary Blevins. And you just need to email me, Heather at pinkfreshstudio.com to claim your prize. And yes, okay. This will be the final. I think it might be the tiny, tiny one. I haven't quite decided yet, but um, it needs that little, I'll glue these down in a second. I think it'll be the tiny one. It needs like a little rivet there holding, yep, the tiny one. So I need to find another tiny one. That little like holding the handle on, and that's the final missing piece there. So I'll get one on both sides there. And that is exactly the final touch that I couldn't quite put my thumbs on of what I needed to finish that off. So I'll glue that down after we click off, but that'll be the final little touch on there. And I'm going to switch the camera around and say one final goodbye. One more time, just a reminder, this is our last normal Tuesday live for this year. Next week is already Christmas Eve and the week after is New Year's. So we'll be taking those weeks off this Friday. I hope you'll come back and join us for the retailer edition of live. That'll be with Leah, and I know Jody announced somewhere above which store is doing that, and I don't remember, but hope to see you there. That will be the final live for this year, and then we'll look forward to new things in 2025. So have a great rest of your day. A super Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope you just have a wonderful holiday season. Congratulations again to Mary Blevins. The info is in there to email me, Heather at pinkfreshstudio.com. Give me 2 or 3 days and I'll get that gift card to you. I might even do it right away if you email quick enough. You never know. All right. Take care, everybody. We'll see you again later. Have a great rest of your day.